Welcome, Coach Scott. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for letting me join your party. It's so
Awesome.
nice. It's just so nice to see all of you guys. I'm serious.
Yep, it's the best part. It's my favorite part of the week is when I get to see these guys on our meetings and on here. So you have been around the water a very long time. How old were you when you first started swimming?
I was 6.
Was that on the swim? Have you started on a swim team when you were 6?
Yeah, I'll never forget when I completed. In order to be on the team, you had to swim a 25 without touching the bottom or unassisted, and I'll never forget it. And I can still remember clearly what and where I was at. Of course, I was at the Kankakee Y. I remember exactly the whole 25 where I wanted to quit, and then I could see the end of the pool, and I still had quite a ways to go, but I was just like, no, I gotta make it. So I was 6 when I made my first 25, and that's what you had to do to make the team.
Awesome. So then you made it 25 and 6. How much were you practicing when you were 8 and under? How often did you go to practice?
I don't recall. I don't recall how many times I went. I can tell you that I remember that I wanted to go every day.
That's good. And when you were young, what was your favorite stroke?
The butterfly.
Nice.
Yeah, I was actually a butterflyer.
So as you moved up the age group ranks, 10 and under, what have you, when did you start really coming into your own as a swimmer?
I think when I was 8, about 8, I started. I started to get to know the other swimmers that I competed against, and when you start knowing other kids from other teams,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that you're going to swim this team. Back in our day, we had a lot of dual meets where we swam head to head with another team, and I started to develop competitors and friends from other teams, and then I'd look forward to, like, the week prior to us having a dual meet. I remember getting all excited and psyched up to swim against the certain kids.
So how old were you when you got your first stake? Let's see. Kankakee was a Y team, right?
Yes.
So how old were you when you got your first Y stake cut?
9.
9 and 10, nice. And then did you guys still compete in USA meets, or back then it was AAU meets?
No. We had a group. We had a couple other families that would go to a couple of U.S. meets in every season, in the winter, in the summer, fall and winter. In the summer, we'd go to a couple of meets. We'd go down to Champaign, George Williams College. We would go up there. A lot of B.R. Ryle meets, UIC. So I was mixed, but I was more at that time. I was more YMCA than I was US.
Sure. Actually, I can remember them hosting. I can remember going to a Kankakee meet. In fact, I remember going to a Kankakee JO meet when I was swimming.
Was it outdoors?
It was outdoors. It was in the summer.
Right, the pool right next to the river.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I can remember that. So did you guys swim in that pool at all, or were you always at the wide pool?
I swam there every day in the summertime.
Was that long course?
I'm gonna tell you a story, and this is gonna sound like one of those old grandpa stories. But we lived out in the country, and my mom and dad would go to work. I would have to get on my bike and bike in. It was 15 miles to bike into to where I'd play Little League baseball, and I dressed up in my baseball uniform, and No, the opposite. I would go to swim practice 15 miles into where the river is. And then after practice, I would bike to my Little League games.
Wow. And how old were you
And
when
then
you were
my
doing
dad
that?
would pick me up and my dad would pick me up after my baseball game and put my bike in his car
Wow.
every day.
That's awesome. That's fun. So progress your age group swimming. When did you start to get really good? And was it as you headed up towards high school? You went to Kankakee High School, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know what really good is. I'm not really one to say that I was. I was pretty. I would say I was competitive,
Mhm.
pretty competitive. I would be in the top 6 at my district, Y districts, Y state, pretty much from 10 years old on up.
Well, Kankakee, if I
um,
sorry.
I went into high school. I know that one of my main goals was I was always going for a Y national cut in age group. That was always my goal. But I also always wanted to make a state cut my freshman year in high school.
Fair enough.
And I was able to do that.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, Kankakee was kind of a little swimming hotspot back in the day. There's some really good swimmers that came out of Kankakee, and a lot of that was out of that Kankakee Y. And you had a personal connection there, big time with your dad, who the Y is. Well, I'll let you tell the story about your dad and his involvement in swimming with the Kankakee Y.
My dad was a youth director way back in the early 60s, right when he got out of school in Kankakee. And he ended up, all he did was he taught kids how to swim. That was his biggest thing. He ended up going to Wisconsin and Racine, Wisconsin, ran a Y there for a while, and then got invited back to the new YMCA in Kankakee. And then he ended up becoming the executive director there. And at that time, he still had this it was his big niche that he thought anybody that was born on the planet should have the right and the ability to learn how to swim. And that was always his key. He's still to this day, I get people that run across me from Facebook, or if I go down to visit my mom in Kankakee, that there is endless amounts of people that speak about my dad, because the one thing they'll always say is that he taught me how to swim, or he bought me a membership to the YMCA so I could learn how to swim. So I have 3 older brothers, so it's a family of 4 boys. We all swam, and then my mom ended up being our swim coach for quite some time. It was in our family, and my dad got the pool built at the new Kankakee YMCA, and it's been a big, I would say, a big pillar in the community. That pool.
Yep, for a long time. The Kankakee YMCA got a new name a few years ago. What's it called now?
Well, it's not the Kankakee YMCA. They named the pool the
Gotcha.
West Walker Aquatic Center.
I knew something was. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. That'll be there forever. That's awesome.
It's very touching when I go visit my mom, which I do often. The YMCA is right off a major street, kind of like Ogden Avenue. But if you drive by, it's in light. You can see it's in big light letters with lights. You know, the West Walker Aquatic Center, and I don't know. I'm getting a little. It's pretty cool. I'm just so I'm just so proud of what he has done for not just my brothers and myself, but for the other people that didn't have much. And he was a big giver. All he wanted to do was help.
That's awesome. It's awesome that he's going to have his name on there forever. Now, you mentioned your brothers. That was going to be the next thing I brought up. You definitely come from a swimming family. The Walkers are Kankakee swimming. It's synonymous. Your brothers are involved in swimming as well. What have they done in their careers to be involved in swimming?
My oldest brother, he was the one that I always really tried to follow. Actually, that's not true, all of them. My oldest brother ended up swimming at the U of I. My second oldest swam for the U of I, Indian River, and then Texas A&M. And then Robin swam for, my next oldest brother swam for Eastern Illinois. Robin coached at Glenbrook North High School for 35 years. Most of all of you should probably remember Glenbrook North High School. It's a really nice pool. We go up there in is it the fall?
October, yeah.
Yeah, we go up there in the fall. That's where Brian's wife also coaches. So he was there for 35 years. He just retired last year. My brother Rick was and still is, but at Southern Illinois University, and he coached there for 33 years.
Yeah. So.
And also, Rick actually was the Olympic coach for Egypt in open water swimming back when it was in London. What was that, 2008?
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
12.
12?
Oh, 12.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
12, sorry, 12, yeah.
Hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can someone see that we're trying to get in? Tatum wants to go on the computer instead of the phone, or no? Do I have to hang up from this to get in? I'm sorry to interrupt you. No?
Todd, I don't know.
You should be able to get on. You should be
You
able to
don't
get
see
on.
admit me? Like if I hang up maybe from my phone,
Hold
you can
on,
get me in
give
the
me a second.
Go ahead and keep talking. I can hang up if Tatum just would rather do it on the computer instead of the phone.
I don't see
Former
any,
Walker swimmer.
You don't see me?
I don't see anything that says admit me.
Okay, let me try to hang up on the phone and then maybe see if you can admit me through the computer. Sorry to interrupt, guys.
It's all right. All right. So Scott, talk about you made back to your high school swimming career. You made state as a freshman. Tell us a little bit about your high school swimming career, and kind of wind that into your recruiting for college.
This is where my swimming career kind of went zigzagged, but I know that it also helped me, without question, become the kind of coach I am today. I made it my freshman year, freshman year I made the 100 back. I ended up becoming a flyer and then a backstroker going into high school. So then that also kind of put me in the IM. So then I started switching out of the fly and moving into the back. So then I became an IMer and a backstroker. And I swam a lot against that guy down there, Coach Lorick. Mike and I ended up being pretty big rivals to some extent. Not huge, but definitely would always, you can't fall asleep when you know you're swimming that guy. And so my junior year, I got 7th, but I swam against in 7th in 100 back, and that was the year I swam against Tom Jagger. And in the prelims, I swam right next to Tom, and that kind of it was really cool because he set the state record at that time in that heat. But I couldn't pull anything. All the water was just like anything that I tried to grab, it just would slip. I'm not using that as an excuse, none whatsoever. But that's the kind of condition I had to swim in. So I ended up getting put in the banana heat, which is the consolation heat. And I ended up winning my consolation heat. But back in the day, you didn't get anything for 7th through 12th. Only the final guys, 1 through 6, got medals. You were just like there for, I don't know. You just got a second swim. But my senior year, I got really sick. About a week before my sectional meet, I got caught with something that was called the Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And really what it is, it's where you it's a virus and you get ulcers all in your mouth and all down your throat. And so I had a really high fever. I ended up getting put in the hospital, and the only way that there wasn't really a cure for it. They were scrambling to figure out what they could do, and so I got put on IV for a week. And as you know, I'm not really that heavy to begin with, and so all of my muscle mass, all of my conditioning went right out the window. And this is a week before I'm supposed to, sectionals qualify for state. So about 3 days out, so on Wednesday before the sectional meet was going to happen, I pleaded with my doctor that if there was any way, the possibility that he could let me out to swim. Can I please go to the swim meet? Can I swim? And then after the swim meet, I'll come back to the hospital. Otherwise, I don't have any other options. I'm going to lose it's my senior year. I was being recruited, and this is my shot. Kind of no different than what we're all dealing with right now with the people that were seniors, the kids that were going to go to NCSAs. That was it. This is my shot. And the doctor said no. I threw a fit. I cried my eyes out. You could hear me down the hospital hallway, and I bled inside my mouth because I was screaming. Then my mom talked to the doctor, and my mom still regrets this to this day. Somehow she convinced him to go ahead and let me out. So I got out Saturday morning, and I went straight to the high school. And I swam my 2 events. They put me out of the relays. I swam my 2 events, and my mom drove me right back to the hospital. So that was the time. I qualified for those 2 events. So I go to the state meet. I get out of the hospital. I go to the state meet, and one of the first people I run into at warm-ups is Mike. And Mike looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, you look like you've just been put in a cellar or like you just got out of prison or something." I was 110 pounds.
He did not look good.
Senior. Yeah. But I still swam my 2 events. I should have probably have scratched out of the medley and focused more on my 100 back, but I didn't, and I didn't make the finals. I swam like a little bit slower than I did at my sectional times, but it didn't matter. I got there. And then I had to walk up in the balcony with my parents, and the head coach, Bob Steele, was sitting with my parents because we were good friends with Bob, and I wanted to go and swim at SIU with Bob. And I'm sitting there. I was like crushed. First of all, my teammates not my teammates, the people I swim against and the people I know are down there swimming right now, and I'm up in the balcony, and it hurt, especially sitting right behind the coach that I wanted to go to school for. He didn't give me I didn't get recruited until I went in the spring. I got healthy. I got right back at it, and I went to Y Nationals down in Fort Lauderdale, and I had a really good meet. And there's this guy named Tom Schwer that gave me a phone call about 2 weeks after Y Nationals and said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming and swimming at Western?" And I'm like, he goes, "If you're interested, I want to come meet your parents." And so he got in the car and came to my house, and then that's how I ended up swimming for Western. But I also wanted to add, not only did I get really, really sick my senior year, but my freshman year, I went in and right before my high school season, I got both my knees operated on at the same time. And back in the day, they didn't put you in a boot or an air cast. I was in 2 casts from my ankles to my hips for 8 weeks.
Wow.
And that still did not stop me from training. So, and then when I got in my junior year in college, I ended up getting both my shoulders done. And I got both of them done at the same time. That did not stop me from training. And so this is why I think why I needed to be a coach, because I had gone through so much. There's so many times I could say, this is not fair. Life isn't fair. I just found a way to, like, I'm going to show everybody I can beat them with after I just had 2 knee surgeries. I'm going to show everybody I can beat them after being in a week and a half in the hospital. I'm going to get out of the hospital. I'm going to qualify for state. That was my just biggest drive. And then my shoulders, I wanted to finish out my a year and a half. But not it just, we all have setbacks. And when our swimmers come up to me and I hear that somebody's got a setback, I get it. I understand a setback. I understand this COVID thing. No, I don't. I get it, but I don't understand it. And so that way, when we were all, Mike was talking with the kids that missed NCSAs, I get it, but man, it hurts. But we're gonna move on. And this whole time, while you're all listening, are you seriously working out? Anybody? Are you every day? Are you seriously working out every day? And are you seriously, when you are working out, are you really going at it? Are you going at it like you think that somebody else that you swim against from other teams, are you working out better than they are? Are you? And it's got to be every day. This is the time that everybody can make a move forward, because there's a lot of people out there that are sitting stagnant. And I think it's time that we all move forward, and we keep moving forward, but it's got to be every day and with a mission and with a goal in mind. That's it. That's my high school career.
That's awesome. So you became a Leatherneck, Western Illinois. How was your college experience?
College experience was good. I loved it. I think that Western Illinois was a perfect fit for me. I was grateful that Coach Schwer came and got me, and I'm grateful that he came and got Mike, came and got a couple other guys that I don't know how I can say it. Coach Schwer had a way of finding the kids that were kind of, I don't want to say left behind, but he got it's almost like the dirty dozen. if you know what I mean. He got this dude and got that dude, and he put us all together, and he would talk. There wouldn't be a day that wouldn't go by where he would tell us what our mission was. And man, he built something that I don't know. I loved it. It was the team atmosphere, and we swam with a purpose.
We were kind of the island of misfit toys, like from Rudolph.
What?
We were like the island of misfit toys, the toys that weren't. We were good toys, but we weren't great toys.
I think that's a really good way of putting it.
That's awesome.
We were wounded. He would get the wounded ones, you know.
So now you graduate from there with, what was your degree when you graduated Western?
I got a bachelor's degree in physical education, and I minored in Parks and Rec.
Nice. So did you go into coaching and teaching right out of college? Did you get a job right away?
I went into the YMCA work. I went to Waukesha, Wisconsin. I was the youth director up at Waukesha for a year. And I was too lonely. I was all by myself. I didn't have my family. I missed my family. So I really didn't like it. And it wasn't because it was the why. It was, I did not like my personal life and where I was at. So I ended up working with my oldest brother at a warehouse distribution center.
Interesting. I didn't know that story.
Uh,
So then when did you get into teaching and coaching?
well, after 2 years of the warehouse and distribution business, one of my, Robin, my next oldest brother, called me and said that the Schaumburg Park District was looking for a swim coach. Well, the warehouse distribution center I was working at with my brother is in Schaumburg. So I already had an apartment in Schaumburg. So I just went over and I applied. And one of the guys that was on the interviewing committee was Tom Gallagher, who knew my brothers, who he was really excited when he found out that I had applied. I ended up getting that job, and I had that for 2 years.
Well, and I can tell you that the kids on here, you won't recognize Schaumburg Park District. They still have a very small team. But back then, Schaumburg Park District for the Northwest suburbs was the place to be. You had a ton of success at that program. So that vaulted you into another position. What happened then?
We went, when I got there, the Park District had 60 kids. It wasn't even 60 really. Like 60 kids on their team. And within a year and a half, we were at 225. For that includes also the summer. So we were, our membership was consistent all year round.
Sure.
The Park District really didn't want the swim team to be that big. So I got a couple of phone calls. Loyola, I actually applied for the Loyola job. I got that job, and I was working with Loyola for the summer, and then Lyons Township High School called, and I actually was not calling them back because I just don't always make a return phone call. This is one of the biggest mistakes I made, and I still recovered from it. I was blowing them off. Because I got the Loyola job, you know, I know that was not a bad place to be either. But when you're talking finances, Lyons Township was calling. So finally I called them back and I said, hey, you know what? I have a job at Loyola, and the director of personnel said, I don't care. We need to meet. Is there any way you can come down and meet with us? I said, okay, I'll come down and meet. So we ended up talking, and I had an interview with the superintendent, director of personnel, and the athletic director. And within 2 hours, I walked out with the job. That was my interview. And it was at a restaurant. And you don't get those interviews like that anymore. So that's called old school.
Was that Dennis Kelly?
So then that was yeah.
Tom
Dennis,
Bill was my freshman English teacher. I went to Lyons before Scott got there, so I know exactly
He's
who hired
probably
you.
one of the most favorite administrators of all time. So in 1994, I got that job, and I've been there ever since.
Now, when you started there, you were
the girls.
That's what I was going to
Then
ask.
I was coaching the girls. Then I coached the girls and the guys, and then I did coach the girls, the guys, and then water polo for 2 years, all 3 sports, and getting my master's degree at the same time.
So 94, you started there
but
coaching.
I wasn't married.
Right, well, we're going to get to that. So 94, you started coaching girls, guys. Obviously improved success. It was always kind of a sleeping giant in that area. And you really raised the bar right there.
I remember swimming. I remember swimming Lyons in a dual meet when I was at the Schaumburg Park District, and always wondering, like, oh my God, they got so many kids. Why aren't they? What's going on? And it's kind of really weird how everything goes full circle.
It is, definitely. So guys and girls, compare and contrast. Is it easier to coach one or the other? Is it about the same? Is it from a high school perspective?
I think it all depends on the kind of cycle that you get of personalities, the cycle of kids that rotate through your 4 years, and what group is motivated with a certain, like, let's go attack this, along with the work ethic, and also the parents. I think if you get all 3 together, you get a coaching staff, you get the swimmers and the parents all working in the same direction, that are all living the life together. It really is a no-brainer that you're going to be successful. And I think that's a big key. And I think the big key is educating all 3. 1, the coaches are reminded what they need to do. 2, the swimmers need to know why they're there, and the coaches will do anything and everything for them to be happy and train hard and create a good environment. And 3, the parents have to support all of it. I think the girls can be probably a little bit more tiring at times, especially when the middle of the season comes and there's the excitement of the beginning of the season kind of tapers off. And then you have to deal with homecomings and all of that stuff. That can be exhausting. However, the guys, they can be just as exhausting too. And like I said, it all depends on what kind of characters you have. I don't know. I like both. I would have to say I really, if you gave me a teeter-totter, if I was in the girls' season, I'd say I like the guys. If it were in the guys' season, I'd say I like the girls. And hopefully at the end of both seasons, you can say, that was awesome. I love both of them.
That's awesome. So you come over there in mid to late 90s, you're at Lyons, you're coaching, you're teaching, you're coaching girls, coaching boys, and then Coach Mel happens. When did you become the next Walker swimming family?
Oh, wait. Well, that could go. What do you mean?
When did you marry Coach
Where
Mel?
I met.
Well, where'd you meet her, and when did you marry her?
I actually met Mel at North Campus at Lyons Township High School, coaching Lyons. she was getting her, she came back from school and she was visiting her parents over Christmas break. And so she popped in and helped coach while she was home for break. So when she came in, that's when I first met her. And then I kind of knew I kind of knew that that's cool. We went out with the other coaches and stuff like that. So it wasn't like a one-on-one date or anything like that. It was no different than us all just going out after a swim meet.
So then when did you guys get married?
Like 2 years after that. I had to wait for her she ended up going back down to ISU to get her master's degree in speech pathology. And then we got married. And we were both, while she was gone getting her master's degree, I actually took her job at the LaGrange Field Club because she used to coach there. So when she left to get her master's, she just told the people at the field club, "Hey, I got a coach here waiting. You don't have to go searching." So I ended up taking that job in the summer. And then when she came back and we got married, we both then just started coaching the field club. And we were there for like 16 years.
Yeah, it was a long time. That's when you and I met each other. Really, was back when I was doing the Village
Right.
Field Club, and you were at LaGrange.
Right.
Another lifetime
Yeah.
ago. So then you added Spencer to the swimming family, who obviously had a Boyd's career, and he started out as a good little swimmer, but he really took off. Obviously, the pinnacle of high school swimming is how you perform at state or team-wise getting a trophy. So can you talk about what it was like to see Spencer start to get good? We all saw Spencer getting good, especially once he transferred over to Bullets, and you guys came in onto our coaching staff, and then he started that upward trajectory, and you saw him coming into your high school team. And talk about what it was, how you prepared to coach your own son in high school, and then what it was like to do that, and then the successes you guys had.
It wasn't really anything to prepare for because we're always little brothers or sisters. You sit there in the stands and you watch your parents coach. Basically not in the stands. They always are coming on deck. I actually think Spencer really liked going to swim meets because of the concession stand. But then he found out that he could get food after he swims, and so he started swimming. But he kind of really was seriously a natural, because I remember one time we were in the Bahamas once, and he was swimming, and he had a ring buoy that you blow up in air around the center or around his waist to help him float. But he was swimming backstroke. And I remember going underwater and watching him just swim backstroke. And his underwater pole, and I remember this clear as day, his underwater pole was a complete with the hand pitch and throwing it down at the age of 5. And I remember smirking underwater like, oh my God. So he just swam, and I think if anybody wants to learn anything about patience, Coach Mel always talks about the word process. Our bodies is a ongoing process, and Spencer is a really good example of what the maturity of process is, because when he was swimming at the age of 9 or 10, 11 and 12, he was fluffy. He was pulling some serious weight and doing a really good job at it. But then as maturity hit, he just started to get taller. And as he got taller, he started losing that body fat, and he also started gaining some muscle. And so it was like a double bonus whammy. He's starting to lose the weight, and he's gaining muscle, and he's getting taller, which means his distance per stroke is longer. And his times just started dropping. And I remember thinking a lot of times, like, man, when is he ever not gonna not get a lifetime best swim? And he held that decline of time drops for such a long time. All of you guys were really part of all of that. I just sat back and watched. Mike, he, go to Mike. He'd just go to Mike. He wouldn't come to Mel or I. And that was really cool because he would just go to you guys. And I could be coaching the Bullets at Riverside or be at a meet with everybody, and I didn't really want to talk to him because if he wants to talk to me, he's got plenty of time to do it. So our separation, I thought, was really good. My concern came is he's going to come around and start swimming in high school. When he starts high school, he's going to have to come to me.
Mhm.
So what I did was I used my assistant coaches for that. No different than when he was swimming with when he's at the Bullet season, he's got you guys. Got Jeremy, he's got Glenn, Todd, Mike, Brian. We're out.
Interesting.
That's why I love those away meets that you guys have all the time, because he'd get on the bus or get on the plane and it'd be like, go. I had no worries. If anything, I was more excited because he was not only going to learn from all of you guys, but he's going to get the experience of being away from home, not getting homesick, and knowing that he can survive in a competitive atmosphere away from home and away from mom and dad. But then when he got to high school, my assistant coaches, I would coach my assistant coaches to say something. If I needed something to go to Spencer, I would tell one of my assistants, hey, can you go tell him that, do this or do that? And Spencer would know that that's coming from me,
Right.
but just not directly. And then, as I said before, you asked me, did I like coaching girls or guys in a high school season? And I said, well, it all depends on what kind of motive the group has. Spencer came in with a group of guys that their entire mission from day one of his freshman year was they're going to win state. And I kind of actually was like, yeah, right. But they did that. So I didn't really have to do any of the serious motivations. I was blessed to have a group of guys that were like, we're doing this. And I just kind of got out of the way. Sometimes coaching, the best coaching is not coaching at all. Just make sure you step back and not get in their way. I trained them, and I trained them hard, but they wanted to do it. And so he ended up doing very well. Very well.
It had to be pretty cool winning 2 state titles with your son as pretty much your lead swimmer. It took a team, but he was pretty much your lead swimmer.
Yeah,
cool.
He wouldn't have been able to do it without the people on this screen.
Absolutely.
And with all of his teammates in high school. It truly takes, and there's not enough people you can put on a piece of paper that had an impact on all these swimmers. I mean, we're all in it together, and truly blessed.
All right, guys. So we're gonna open this up to you guys, so you guys can talk directly to Coach Walker. Who's got questions? Show me a hand. Somebody's got to ask some questions for Coach Walker. What's your favorite set to give, Coach Scott? For like a gold group, what's your favorite set to give to gold?
It depends on what we're looking at. Is it sprint? Toys?
Sure. Favorite sprint set?
Distance.
Like distance. All right. Distance.
I like the set that never ends.
Oh, what's that?
That is you go a 400 IM into 1625s fly, 1625s back, 1625s breast, 1625s free, 300 IM, 1225s fly, 1225s back, 1225s breast, 200, 8 on the way down. But then you can also make those 25s in the 50s, or you can make them in the hundreds. I think anybody from Riverside has probably had a taste of that. I call it the set that never ends.
Nice.
I have a Coach
Nice.
Walker comment. So
Yeah.
I don't even know if Scott remembers this. So I was 15, I just turned 16, and my club team was changing. And so a number of our swimmers were all going to a new team. And we called Coach Walker and we called Coach Bill Shawls. And we were all deciding we were going to go together. And we called Bill and we asked Bill, here's what's going on. We want to change teams. And Bill's answer was, well, you can't come because you are going to miss too much practice. So you have to wait. So then we called Coach Walker and said, can we come swim for you at Schaumburg? You're still at Schaumburg. And he said, absolutely, you can come swim for me. I'll get a hold of you next week. Called me a week later. Yeah, I just left Schaumburg, so you might not want to swim there anymore. And so I was this close to swim for Coach Walker when I was 15 years old and was really, really excited because I had seen him on deck so many times as an athlete. And I didn't get the chance because he changed jobs on me.
Oh,
so that
thank
was my
you,
Coach
Todd.
Walker. My
Thank
Coach
you.
Walker story.
Yeah, and Bill and I go way back as well too. When he was at Aurora,
Mhm.
we had a lot. Oh man, Lauren Silva and Lindsay Farella.
That was where, I was friends with Lindsay and all that.
Yeah,
Yep.
and man, I talk about, train. Are we doing our dry land and aerobic work now during this COVID epidemic because there's somebody else out there training harder than you? That's the way Lindsay and Lauren were. You got to out-train somebody that you don't see, but is out there.
I just thought that always, that was just something that stuck with me just because, you knew me, but you didn't know me. We knew each other as a coach on deck. I'm sure the same way these guys probably can put a face to certain coaches on deck, but they don't know them. And you pretty much owed me nothing. And yet as a coach who I'd never swum for, you made it a point to call me and tell me, hey, I'm leaving. This is still a good program if you want to come here, but I wanted you to know from me that I was leaving. Just always said a lot about what you thought about athletes and how you treated them. So it meant a lot. So, and again, talking 25 plus years later, I still remember it. So it obviously had an impact.
And look at us now.
Exactly.
Swimming world is very small. Joey,
How much older were your brothers than you?
It's 2 years apart. They're 2 years apart.
Okay, so your next oldest brother is 2 years, and then the next one is 2.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't want my age, did you?
go ahead, Emily.
Okay, so at high school state, I noticed that you had a towel on your shoulder. So I was wondering, what's the towel?
Yeah, I get it's so funny you just asked that. I get that a lot. That is like a
Security blanket.
see, yeah. It's a waddy. It's a security blanket. You know what a waddy is? Everybody's when they were growing up had their own little waddy. But I also put I make a real good rub down solution. It's alcohol, mineral oil, icy hot, true wintergreen, and I mix it in a spray bottle. But then I spray that into that towel, and I carry that around, and I let my swimmers, if they want to snip, it clears out their nasal sinuses. It just clears them out. And so I always carry that with. And when I get a little rambunctious, I'll go behind the block and just to say a couple of words to my swimmers before they're going to swim. Then I say, you want a whiff? And they'll like, yeah. And it clears their sinuses. That's a cool question.
That's a good
I'm
question.
surprised you asked that.
Who else? Haley.
What is your favorite memory as a swimmer?
Oh man, Haley, I have just so many that I can't really pick one. I mean, I could pick one if it related to a certain scenario or something that's going on. I can relate my memories to this scenario of what's going on. So if you ask me, my sophomore year for sectionals, that was at our pool. This is another, I didn't tell this story, but my parents leave the house. They always left the house because I used to get really uptight. So and like I said, I lived in the country. I let my 2 dogs out and I'm jamming, the house is rocking, and I'm just getting really psyched up because I got a flyer from Victor Andrew that I was a rival of mine. So I called my dogs in because I was going to get in the car and go to the meet. And one of my dogs came around, and my dog came. I had 2. One of them sat down and didn't come to the door, and I'm like, Nikki, what's wrong? Where's Bosco? And he just had these big eyes and his ears were down. And so I had to go out, and I had a real long driveway. I went out, and my second dog, my Cocker Spaniel, got hit by a car and died. And so I had to pick him up. I had to call my dad and ask my dad, what should I do? I got my swimming, I'm going to miss warm-ups. And he's like, put him next to the garage. I'll drive home and get him. And I was bawling. And here I am. I got to get to the pool. I got warm-ups. And here's another state qualifying meet. And so I put him aside. I got in the car. I went to the meet. And I warmed up and everything. Everybody knew when I got in there because everybody just left me alone. But I swam the 100 fly against my rival. And I remember clear as day on the third 25, when I came off the 50 wall, on the third 25, when I saw clear water in my peripheral, all I kept on saying is, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I totally transferred all my energy over like, you kill my dog, you kill my dog, you kill my dog, you kill my dog. And I annihilated. And I'll never forget it. And I still tell that story to my high school kids when it's time to get ready to start rocking the season. And I nailed my third turn, and then I just brought it home. I felt no pain. And that is the biggest margin that I had beaten that kid ever since we were swimming against one another. There isn't a day that doesn't go by where I don't think about my Bosco. But yeah, that was another tragedy. You know, stuff happens. But I would say, you know, can you call that, Haley, a good memory in a way?
Yeah.
In a way, it was so sad, but I found a way to transfer my mindset into something positive. And that swim was basically for my dog. You know, I didn't I did something about it. And that's why I think all our memories and all the things that happen to us, if we can turn around and help somebody else through it, then that's pretty cool. And I think that's why I love being a coach, is because I believe I got so many experiences to offer. I don't know when I'm going to be able to help. It's just, with hundreds of swimmers that we coach, something's going to happen where I can say, I kind of been through that. I understand.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who else? Any other questions, guys? Coaches, anybody? Jilly.
When did you know you wanted to be a coach?
Oh, that's good.
Oh. Probably maybe around my junior year in high school, because I had started going through, I had severe asthma when I was little, like really bad. And then I got my knees done. And then all these things started to happen to me, and I was still able to swim competitive. I mean, I just tried to transfer everything like, I'm going to beat you with one arm. I'm going to beat you with no arms. I'm going to find a way. I was very competitive. And so I think with my brothers started going out and they started coaching when they got out of high school with summer college camps. And my mom was my coach. And all the things that my dad had done, I just kind of figured I wanted to be a coach. And that is actually why, Jilly, I went and got a teaching degree in physical education, is because I really didn't know if I wanted to be a teacher. I just wanted my teaching certificate, but I did want to be a coach. And I knew the way out was to get something in physical education, but I wanted to be on the pool deck.
Nice.
I have many memories when I used to swim against Coach Walker. I remember freshman year swimming at the Kankakee Invitational, going down there, and I'm thinking, okay, there's a freshman swimming the IM with me. Let's see what happens. And he smoked me. And I was like, wait a second, how can a freshman be that fast? And so that became he became my motivation, because I knew we were going to swim each other for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
But we used to always have some fun IMs because we'd be close at the fly, and he'd smoke me in the backstroke, then I'd catch him in the breaststroke, and then it just became a drag race.
Yeah,
So it was always fun.
Whoever had anything
always
left
fun.
in the free.
Exactly.
I had a
So it was always fun.
question for you, Coach Walker. I don't want to say it wrong. Was there ever a particular group that you worked with, or a situation that was presented to you over your coaching career that really challenged you to think outside the box and kind of up your game as a coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Almost, are you talking high school?
Whatever, any point in your coaching career.
I actually think some of my best coaching was when I had a season that wasn't too successful, but we did everything. People have no idea that what we did to get where we were. Those were probably my best coaching seasons, that making kids that never swam year round. That was the big issue that I had for many years going into Lyons Township High School, is none of those kids swam year round. They would just swim for the high school season. So I'm dealing with all these other high school programs that the kids swim year round, and I'm making, and I wish I could just tell everybody on a PA system, what we did here was kids that swam for 4 months. I think, don't you think that almost every season, every new group, or every group that you get, we're always thinking out of the box, because you don't want to train the same way as a coach that you did the year before. I mean, I kind of like to mix things up just for my own sake, but the kids' bodies get so used to doing the same thing that we got to think outside of the box. So the body's doing something different and the mind's doing something different and everything's rejuvenated because it's a whole new different splash.
So let me ask it separately then. Was there ever, and I don't mean to just, don't say Spencer. I guess we'll start with that. Was there ever a swimmer that made you think, wow, like I need to think of something different for this athlete? You know,
Yeah.
maybe it was Lindsay, maybe it was Jay, maybe it was Aaron O'Neill back in the day. I'm just, you know, was there ever a swimmer that,
Yeah.
wow, you know, you had to think of something different
Yeah.
to put a challenge or to put something under the athlete?
That now I know what you're getting at. That leads into the coach that gets accused as, oh, well, he or she has his or her favorites. Quite frankly, that kind of comment deserves an honest answer, and my answer would be yes, I do have my favorites. You are absolutely correct. And those are the kids that show up every day. Those are the kids that listen when I'm talking, and they will do the set the way the set should be swum. So what I would do with those kids, with Lindsay, I would take care of Lindsay. I would do anything and everything to take care of Lindsay because Lindsay has a ton of friends that swim with her, and they're just going to follow what she does. Jay Glenn, Todd Laird, Tim Shealy did anything and everything that they possibly needed to get to be successful. It's a no-brainer because all the kids just did what they did. Callahan Dunn, same thing. Did anything and everything for her senior year, anything and everything to get her to do what she needed to do. It didn't bother anybody else. I didn't advertise it, but everybody just did what they did. And if they couldn't do those sets, we just modified it 5 seconds, 10 seconds down the lane. Yeah, I think almost every year you need to modify, because doesn't somebody like Haley get taller? Doesn't somebody like Emily get stronger? Jilly's going to be, when I see her, she's going to be 2 inches taller than me. So we're going to have to do things when we get back in the water different than what we did 4 months ago. That's a really good question, Coach.
Joey,
Does anybody else have your like reddish orange hair, or is it just like your own thing?
What am I?
The pants.
Actually, my hair gets blonde in the summertime, and it gets red in the winter. I have another brother, Rick, was the coach down at Southern. He's got blonde hair. Always had blonde hair, except for now it's just kind of switching over a little bit from blonde to white. No, that's it. Just probably, well, we all kind of had that white chlorinated hair. I think when your career ends, it starts to change a little bit.
and when you get old.
Uh-huh.
So Glenn, you got something? No? Okay.
No, I don't have any question. No, I just unmuted when he talked about his brother Rick. His brother Rick was one of my coaches actually at the Joliet YMCA for the Joliet Jets
Joliet Jets.
in the mid '80s. Yeah,
That was before he went down to Houston, right?
correct. He was with Mike Simpson.
Wahoo.
He and Mike Simpson were the coaches in
Yeah.
Joliet. Yeah.
Nice. Small swimming world, guys.
And,
Any other
and
questions?
I have a
before we go?
question.
Oh, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
got another one about Kankakee. I'm sorry, I'm hogging the mic.
Oh, you're fine.
I swam when I was a swimmer. I swam at that meet in Kankakee at that pool in the summertime. And weren't you allowed to camp out there?
Yeah.
I remember camping out there
Yeah.
by the river.
Yeah,
then
right
just
on the
waking
side
up.
of the right on the
Yeah.
side of the pool and the river.
Yep.
Yeah, waking up, walking outside, or crawling out of the tent and walking to the pool like 50 yards to warm up. That was
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite meets as a kid.
How cool would that be? How cool would that be if we could do that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was the days. Those were the days. All right, guys. Any more questions before we wrap it up? Haley?
What's your favorite meet to go to as a coach?
Ooh.
Is it high school or is it with the boat?
Whatever. Just whatever meet.
Man, mine popped in my head right away as a swimmer. I was hoping it would be Scott's favorite as a coach.
As a swimmer, Dr. Pepper.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. Joliet, baby. Dr. Pepper.
That was my meet.
There's no question the Dr. Pepper meet is in the top 3 of everybody's list. You're talking as a coach, Haley?
Hated that meet.
As a coach.
Yeah, sure.
I really like going to the NCSA meets. I love the junior and senior a lot. So those would be the 3. I mean, I like the NCSA meets because we go more as a team, and it's like you're going to the meet as a team. When you go to juniors and senior nationals, it becomes a little bit more, I hate to use the word selfish, but your number of teammates aren't there, and it's the prestige and the amount of learning that you can do at juniors and seniors is incredible. And I think NCSA's hits the middle pack of both of the junior and senior meets because everybody's there, but you're there together as a team. And if the group of kids go there for a certain reason and a certain mission, then that meet can, when a team can go into an NCSA meet and steal the show and take the show where everybody knows when they walk out after every session, dang, those bullets are all over the place. They are just rocking the house. And then it just snowballs all week. And I think that kind of feeling, I just got chills about that. That kind of feeling when you know your team is on and you're there with all the other coaches and all the other swimmers, I think that's a pretty neat atmosphere.
Thank you.
Nice. Anyone else? Well, awesome. Thanks for joining us for Coach Walker Unplugged. Thanks, Scott, for taking the time. We appreciate it.